All right, hey guys, Scott here again with a brand new video. And so in this one, I'll be showing you guys and discussing why I made a bullish trade on AMD this morning by selling some put options, even though I'm still very bearish on this market in general. Right, and so through this AMD trade, you're going to see why, generally speaking, I think it's always a good idea to have trades on, especially at key price levels that go directly against your long-term general market assumptions. Now, as always though, before we dive in here, if you guys want to receive up to 13 free stocks where each stock could be worth up to 2,000 bucks, then make sure you watch until the end of the video. And then also, if you want to join a very exclusive online community where you can learn how to trade options and my overall approach to the markets, then you can now join my options trading Discord as well. So definitely check out the description of the video below to learn a lot more about that. And then lastly here, for anybody who is also brand new to the channel, again, my name is Scott, and you can also find me on SKILLSHARE as well, where you can take my very detailed classes on options trading or stock market investing. And you will also find some links to a few of my introductory courses in the description of this video as well. So be sure to check them out, and when you join Skillshare using those links, you'll get a full 1 month free trial. Alright guys, so now we'll dive in here, and first up, we'll take a look at the SPY charts, which is an ETF that tracks the S&P 500. So let's go ahead and zoom in here a little bit. And so as you can see here, basically ever since the end of August, we've been in a major downtrend in the market. And so my assumptions here is that this downtrend is basically the exact same kind of thing playing out as what happened back during this time, which was in mid-March of 2022, right? So we saw this massive bear market rally, or this dead cat bounce, so to speak. And then eventually everything unraveled and the market made even lower lows. So again, fast forwarding to recent times, we saw this massive bear market rally, which lasted even longer than this one. But again here, it's finally come to an end. And in my view, I think it's going to result in even lower lows. And so bottom line, the reason why I'm still such a bear on this market is because the general macroeconomic environment still has not changed at all, right? So inflation is still out of control, and it's still increasing and getting worse, as we saw in the August CPI report. And that's of course why the market had a massive dump yesterday. In fact, I think this down day here was the worst down day in over 2 years. And do also keep in mind that this inflation report came in after the Federal Reserve has already increased rates many times throughout this year, and still we're seeing no impact on inflation. And so naturally, of course, what does this logically mean, right? I mean, the Federal Reserve is going to have to now be much more aggressive in continuing to raise interest rates to try and eventually have some sort of impact on inflation. And with rising rates, you're generally going to put the economy into a worsening recession. So again here, bottom line, because nothing has really changed since the beginning of this year, that's why I'm still bearish on this market. And so ultimately, that's why my portfolio, as a collective holding of different positions, that's why my portfolio here is still leaning bearish, right? So for example, if we go to the monitor tab real quick here, and down below, these are my current positions. And so the most important thing I want to direct your attention to is this column right here, which are the beta weighted deltas against SPY. Now for this video, I'm not going to go too in depth into what beta weighted deltas are and how this stuff works, because I do have a separate video on the topic, so I'll post a link to it above and you can watch it later. So for this video at least, just understand that if my deltas on a given position are negative, that means that position is leaning bearish, and therefore it would make the most amount of money if that stock or if the market in general went lower. And then conversely, if the position deltas are positive, that means that position is bullish. And therefore, if that stock goes higher, or if the market goes higher, it's going to make the most amount of money. And so as you can see here for my RCL position, the beta weighted deltas on this trade are negative 36.6. So again, this means this position is definitely leaning very bearish. And just to get a bit more specific, this means that if SPY here goes up by $1, then I would expect to lose about 36, almost 37 bucks on this one trade here. But conversely, if SPY went down by $1, then this position would profit by about 36 bucks, hence why it's a bearish trade. And then below that, you can see my new trade in AMD, but we'll come back to that in a minute. And then below that, you can see I have one strangle on Meta platforms. And for this trade, the deltas are positive 13.5. So not only is this position bullish, but once again here, if SPY goes up by $1, then I would expect my meta strangle here to make about $13.50. And then lastly, below that, I have two short straddle positions on, which, as you can see with their deltas, are both leaning very, very bearish right now. And so ultimately, if we add together all these different deltas here, we'll get the total beta weighted deltas for my entire portfolio. So real quick, let's bring up the calculator. And so we'll take negative 37 here, just rounding up a little bit. So 37 and then negative. This is for my RCL position, right? And then for the time being, we're going to skip my AMD positions. So I'm not going to add these deltas here yet. So moving on down to my strangles, we'll add to this positive rounding up, call it 14. And then finally subtract 76. So minus 76. So there we go. Without my AMD position here, my total beta weighted deltas for my entire portfolio are negative 99, which one more time means that if SPY goes up by $1, then my entire portfolio, not including AMD, will lose about 100 bucks. And then conversely, if SPY goes down by $1, then my portfolio would make or profit about 100 bucks. So bottom line, my portfolio right here is definitely leaning very, very bearish, which again is what I want because I'm bearish on the market generally speaking, but given where the market is right now, I think these deltas here are too high, or basically that my portfolio is too bearish essentially. So that's why ultimately I sold some put options in AMD this morning to give my portfolio more balance. Right, so again here, as you can see, with this AMD position, the deltas are positive almost 19. So now, if we add in positive 19, my overall portfolio deltas drop down to negative 80. Not a huge change, but still something I thought was necessary. And that's because if we go back to the charts real quick here, like I was saying, look where the market is right now. Right, basically, SPY is at a very, very critical support level and trend line. Right, so as you can see here, ever since the bottom of this bear market so far at least, the market has respected this ascending trend line all the way until this morning. And then also on top of that, we have a very major support level right here at about 390 bucks per share. Right, so you can see during this time and right here, the market bounced off that level every single time. And then back during this zone where the market fell below that level, it flipped into a very major resistance point. Right, so here and here, the market was repelled off that price and fell back down lower. So point is, this price level and this trend line are still very, very significant for the market right now. And so even though my assumptions are that these levels will eventually break and we'll see the market go lower, but for the time being, I definitely could be wrong. And we could see another very strong bounce here. Or also, I could be totally wrong and the market may continue making a recovery all the way back to all-time highs at some point. So ultimately here, guys, I do think it's very important to have some sort of directional assumption about the market. Whether you're bullish or bearish does not matter, but at the same time, you don't want to have positions on that only reflect that assumption, because when you are wrong, and believe me, you will definitely be wrong many times if you trade long enough, you don't want to be blown out when those events happen. And not only that, but even if you are correct in your assumption, right? Let's say the market does continue going lower over the course of this year, right? But even if that happens, it's not going to do so in one straight line. Obviously, as you can see here on the chart, there are tons of small and large bear market rallies along the way. So again here, being able to identify key levels, key price levels basically, where the market may react in a more predictable fashion, that's going to be very, very important to play for those small directional moves, right? Either to the downside or to the upside. So again, back over here, as you saw with my portfolio deltas, I'm definitely prepared for the possibility of the market going lower, right? My overall deltas are still negative, but I'm not blind to the fact that we could still see a bounce at this point. And if that does happen, I want to at least profit a little bit on that possible move, and therefore keep my losses on my bearish trades under control. And so lastly in this video, let's go take a look at AMD on the charts here, and we'll go ahead and zoom in. And so as you can see here, I did also note this possible support level at around 75 or 76 bucks per share. And you can see this morning, AMD got very close to that point and so far has backed off it. But ultimately, I could see the stock going as low as perhaps 71 or 72 bucks per share, basically the same price as the low it made over here, looks like during early July. And that would definitely happen for sure if those support levels and that trend line broke on SPY. right? Because if the entire market goes lower, then chances are AMD is going to go lower along with it. And so bottom line, to prepare for that possibility, that's why I sold 2 put options on the stock. Let's go into the October 7th weekly cycle, 23 days. As you can see here, I sold 2 put options with a 71 strikes. So I made sure the strike price here was at least at or below that major possible support level on AMD. So again, if we do see a bounce in the market, then this trade will definitely profit nicely. And then if we break those levels and we go lower, then again here, I do think AMD might stop or at least pause and bounce around 71 or 72 bucks per share. Of course, I could be wrong and the market could totally fall apart and send stocks plummeting to the ground, but I still want to be as strategic as possible when placing my trades. And even if stocks do go plummeting to the ground, then again, as you saw with my deltas, because collectively speaking, my deltas are still negative, then once more, my portfolio as a whole should benefit from that possibility. Obviously, my AMD trade here will require some defense and some management, but again, because my whole portfolio deltas are negative, then any kind of down move should be beneficial for my portfolio. And so with that being said here, that's going to do it for this video. But of course, one last thing, as I mentioned, I've got a very cool opportunity for you guys where you can receive up to 13 free stocks. So basically, there is a newer brokerage company out there called Moomoo, which is based in Palo Alto, California. And again, for a limited time, they're offering you the opportunity to receive up to 13 free stocks when you open a brokerage account with them using my specific link in the description of this video. And so the Moomoo trading platform is highly competitive with other comparable platforms like Webull and Robinhood. There are absolutely no trading fees on stock or option trades. You also get direct trading access to US, Hong Kong, and Chinese markets, which is something I have not seen being offered by competing platforms. Moomoo also comes with a free, very advanced, yet totally user-friendly trading platform that you can install on your computer or your smartphone. And of course, everything is regulated by the SEC and FINRA, so your trades and your investments are properly insured. And so if that sounds good to you, then again, use my link in the description below to sign up and get your free stocks. And also don't forget to check out and join my options trading Discord as well as my SKILLSHARE courses. Links also in the video description. And finally, if you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up, drop a comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I drop new videos every single week and you don't want to miss out. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.